You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
Good morning and a very happy 420 to you and everybody out there. Welcome to Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News with Glenn Prentice and myself, Al Graham at the Legacy420.com news desk. Good morning, Glenn. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Happy 420 to you.
Yeah, happy 420 to you as well. Good to see that, the day is here, has arrived. Some people call it our holy day. I call it a celebration day. Whatever you call it, it is 420, isn't it?
Celebration day for me.
That's right. Well, not only is it a celebration, it's a double celebration for me. And that is not only because it is 420, but I also have to say happy anniversary to my wife, Gail, because today is our wedding anniversary.
And happy anniversary to both of you.
Well, thank you very much. It's been 38 years now. And to tell you the honest truth, we didn't realize what we had done until we had been married for 18 years. We did not realize we were married on such a big day all those years ago. So it's yeah.
So it was just a fluke.
Yeah, it was just
it was just a fluke. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was complete fluke. Gail picked the day. I didn't pick the day, and I disagreed with the day. And it turns out that it turned out to be on a day of celebration for cannabis. You know, my mom used to dress me in green. You know, maybe there's a reason for that, right?
You thought you were Irish, right? But no.
Yeah. Look at dressed as a kid in green, married on 420. You know, it was inevitable for me to become a cannabis advocate. So. All right, what do you say? We get on with the news.
Sure.
All right. First story of the day is, if it brings it up, there we go. Ban on homegrown cannabis in Quebec upheld in the unanimous Supreme Court ruling. What the is going on here?
Yeah. Federal law allows people to grow up to 4 plants at home, but Quebec prohibits it. Quebec's ban on homegrown cannabis plant is constitutional, the Supreme Court of Canada has ruled in a unanimous decision. Crazy.
Yeah, it sure is. This just does not make sense to me.
No.
But the court, in the ruling, the case before the courts in 2019 by Yannick Murray Hall, a Quebecer who had challenged the eventual ban successfully before the Quebec Superior Court. But the federal law allows people to grow or own up to 4 cannabis plants at home. But the Quebec government banned growing for personal use with fines running between $250 to $750. Like, what the fuck's going on here? Like,
I don't even understand why they did this. It doesn't make sense to me. Murray Hall's lawyer argued that Quebec's ban on owning and cultivating plants for personal use is unconstitutional and contradicts the federal cannabis law enacted in 2018. On Friday, the Supreme Court emphatically disagreed. Wow.
They sure did, being unanimous. Wow. According to the ruling, the provincial law meshes well with the overall goals of the federal one, which include promoting or protecting the health and security of the public and steering users away from the black market. Like, the health and safety of the public by selling it. Like,
can you tell me what this has to do with the black market? 4 plants?
Yeah.
I don't
Well, maybe
understand that.
they're looking at people are growing those 4 plants and they're trying to selling their cannabis. Sounds more to me they want a monopoly over it all versus if they're
Yeah.
banning growing because health and safety. What else should they be banning because of health and safety reasons that don't involve cannabis? There's lots of
Alcohol, cars, motorcycles, walking, streets, everything.
it's just I just can't believe it. It's just not right.
Yeah, it's so
It's not-
strange.
It
The
is,
Quebec
you know.
legislature saw the procession of personal cultivation of cannabis not as a social evil to be distressed or suppressed, but rather as a practice that should be prohibited in order to steer consumers to a controlled source of supply. Exactly what you just said. They own the supply. They own the dealers. They own it all.
From my understanding, I believe that they can make alcohol like, beer, wine
Yeah.
in Quebec. They're not worried about the safety of their citizens when it comes to that.
I'm not sure about that, but I know
Yeah.
when I was in Canada last time 5 months ago, Quebec alcohol was a lot cheaper than the alcohol in New Brunswick where I lived.
Yeah.
But you can't grow 4 plants.
Yeah. Now, Quebec's law paved the way for the creation of the Sûreté Québécoise de Cannabis, which is the SQDC, the government agency that operates cannabis stores in the province. The court also said the federal law permitting the cultivation of the 4 plants at home should not be interpreted as a positive right to self-cultivation. So you can't even take that as a right, that we have a legal right to grow cannabis in Canada.
It's a federal law permitting the cultivation, and that is a positive right. What is a negative right then?
I don't know.
That's what they've done. They made it a negative right.
The ruling goes on to say it is true that in everyday language and even in the speeches of some parliamentarians, the creation of exceptions or exemptions under a scheme of criminal offenses is often described as a legalization effort. However, this way of speaking is incorrect and falsely suggests that positive rights authorizing particular conduct have been granted the public. So make it a law.
The lawyer who represented Murray Hall said the ruling enshrines the principle that Quebec can associate cannabis with public health. It confirms Quebec's right to be a little independent or different in its way of approaching this question, Guerin told the Canadian Press Friday. There's certainly some disappointment, but it is a decision of the highest court. It is a constitutional decision, and we don't have much choice but to rely on this.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, right now in Manitoba, they're doing the same thing, fighting for because they've been banned. They're fighting for the right to be able to grow. And one of the stories that I read on that said that, they're still going forward with their challenge, even though what has happened here.
I wonder what the rule is for medical patients here.
It's done under a different system, so they think that they may have a chance. They're still going forward with it. So,
wow.
They say in a tweet, Quebec Justice Minister Simon Joan Barrette applauded the ruling, saying the province's cannabis law aims to protect the health and safety of Quebecers.
BS.
So you can safely grow tomatoes.
Yeah.
You safely grow potatoes. You can safely grow carrots.
Yeah.
But you can't safely grow cannabis.
It's complete BS.
It is. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It's Quebec will always protect its jurisdiction. That's all they've done is trying to protect the jurisdiction to control the sale of cannabis. That's all they're doing.
Yeah, it seems like they legalized it and gave everybody a bunch of rights, and they're clawing those rights back slowly but surely. This
is just, yeah. Now they say that prior to today's ruling from the country's top court, the Quebec Superior Court sided with Murray Hall, finding the law to be unconstitutional. The decision was then overturned by the Quebec Court of Appeal, which set the stage of today's decision. Now, this might bother some people. They may not realize this, but when it comes to interveners in this case, Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and BC were all interveners in this case. And from my understanding, the reason they were involved in it was because they were looking at to make sure to protect the provincial rights, not so much to look at banning the sale of cannabis, but making sure that they are standing with Quebec as far as wanting to have still have that right to do something. Looking at it as
I'm sure as soon as this ruling came out, they started scheming on how to get rid of it in all those other jurisdictions.
There could very well be, Glenn. Could very well be. It's just.
It's money. It's money.
Exactly.
It's exactly what you said. Yeah. Control of the market.
Control of the market. It's the only thing I can think of. Like they allow all this other stuff to be done.
Right. You're right.
You know, why
that's the way government works.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, on to the next story. Another government policy that upsets me, and that is the fact that cannabis shop robbery spurred push to end restrictions on window displays.
This one, when Elsa Key works at the Toronto Cannabis Store, the days feel long and dark, even when the sun is bright. The gloominess comes from the frosted windows that adorn Kay's pot shop in Leslieville, blocking out the weather or even who is about to walk into her store.
The windows are frosted to comply with regulations requiring cannabis to be shielded from the view of minors. But Kay and others argue the requirement should be dropped because they are leaving workers feeling closed off from the neighborhoods and their stores more likely to be targeted by robbers. She says, you start to feel very isolated, like you're sitting in a box and the world's going by on the street and you realize how disconnected you are. I bet you it feels like working in a factory.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was just thinking. Factory workers, you know?
Yeah.
Even more worrisome is the fact that window coverings can encourage theft because they give cover to anyone who is inside and prevent pedestrians from noticing a crime underway as they pass a store. Nobody can see what's happening inside, said Kay. Wow.
Yeah, she goes on to say, I have a number of colleagues and friends in the industry who have had their stores held up at gunpoint and have had assaults happen inside their stores. That opportunity is very real because of those window coverings.
Yep. Her employees carry plastic buttons in the event they're caught up in a robbery. The Alcohol and Gaming Commission at least she's got those buttons. That's a good idea. The Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, which regulates the province cannabis retailers, said stores must ensure cannabis products are not visible from the shop's exterior. Wow.
In an email, Raymond Connor, spokesperson, says that Ontario retail cannabis stores are able to make their own decisions as to how they meet the standards and as such are not required to cover the windows or block visibility into the store. To avoid covering the windows, some of the walls entryway that blocks the view into the store. But Kay said they can be difficult to construct in small spaces, so relaxed restrictions like those implemented in Alberta are preferred. Like they say, they can't see the cannabis. Well, like I don't know. Is there any way that you can? Like, how can you see the cannabis if it's in a display that's not looking at this window? You know what I mean?
I would like to know how a wall is better than a window that's kind of opaque.
It's not.
You know, have one now they want to build walls. Make it worse.
They have a wall. 2 stores in Campbellford. One of them has the blocked windows. The only reason you can tell they're open is because of those 9. And then the other one has a wall in front of the glass.
Wow.
So you can't what's going on in behind.
Yeah. A significant rise in robberies, particularly in Calgary, prompted Alberta's cannabis regulator to allow stores to take down window coverings last summer. News reports in the lead up to the regulator's move detailed the spate of incidents where robbers were sometimes armed, entered stores to steal cash and cannabis, leaving workers shaken.
Use of violence and weapons has occurred in some commercial robberies, and the Alberta Gaming, Liquor, and Cannabis Commission is concerned for the safety of staff, customers, and responding police officers, according to Dave Barry, the regulator's executive vice president, said in an August letter to stores announcing the change. Jacqueline Paya, the executive director of the Retail Cannabis says she's unaware of any other province that has relaxed regulations around window coverings to the extent that Alberta has.
However, she said the Liquor and Cannabis Regulation Branch, which regulates cannabis in British Columbia, removed rules requiring cannabis stores to be enclosed with non-transparent walls. But Horla said the relaxation didn't spur change because stores must still insure cannabis products, which come in plain packaging that must not entice use, cannot be seen from outside. They've already made the packaging so they don't want, use to buy it. And I don't know. It's just
basically, we don't want you to see the packaging. So like I'm thinking of some way where you can have your display of cannabis out in the store floor, and you could put some little thing there at each location just to prevent them from seeing packaging, or have them directed so they're not looking. Like, if the thing is to stop the cannabis from being seen, no one's saying it stopped from being people from being seen. It's the cannabis.
I can look in any liquor store and you can see right in through the whole store.
You can. Exactly. So. Yeah. Exactly. Wow. I said, let's see, where were we? David Holzman, Communications Director of BC's Ministry of Public Safety and Inspector General, said the LCRB understands that some businesses continue to experience challenges, even though the requirement was removed, and is working with the cannabis industry and other stakeholders to address this issue in the interest of public safety.
Yeah. Horta intends to keep pushing regulators to relax their window covering and visibility rules, and is using safety as one of the top motivators. She says she has heard from at least 8 retailers who experienced break-ins recently, including several that turned violent. Wow.
We had an instance where there was somebody who ended up getting tied up and left in the shop for a period of time, and nobody knew that poor person was in there. There you go.
Great.
My concern is that it's going to get worse before it gets better, and I'm worried that somebody is going to get seriously hurt. Oh, for sure. For sure.
High tide.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, for sure someone's going to be hurt, and this is going to get worse and worse as our economy starts going down a little bit here. High Tides Incorporated, which has 151 stores in 5 provinces and has experienced armed robberies, had similar worries, which encourages to advocate for Alberta to remove regulations prohibiting a cannabis product from being visible from a store's exterior. Now it's calling on other provinces and federal government to copy such legislation, which it said will counter the fact that criminals can run amok without fear of public scrutiny from outside of the store. Yep.
Yeah, and in an email, the public affairs officer, Omar Khan of High Tide, says that in many cases, these gangs steal legal cannabis products for the purpose of diverting them to the illicit market where no age checks are in place.
Yep.
It's being
safety
diverted.
Seems to be the way to go about it.
What's that?
I said safety seems to be the way to go about it to try and get some change.
Yeah. I'm sort of speaking from experience because many moons ago, I was held up and robbed. I had a gun pointed to my head. Yeah, in Campbellford, at the former BP gas. Big windows.
Wow, really? Eh?
Yeah, big lit up parking lot, big windows. Anybody could see inside, and I was held up and nobody saw it. So even though the windows are uncovered, nobody saw me. That doesn't guarantee no one's not going to see me like window coverings will, right? Somebody hopefully would see somebody being robbed. Yeah. And I had to go through a lie detector test because of the fact nobody saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, you were working there at the time?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was working there at the time. Yeah, my young son was at home with the babysitter, and I had a gun pointed in my head.
Wow.
things you just never forget, right? So,
Yep.
all right, on to the next story. Here we go. Headline says price of cannabis in Canada continues to decline, except for medical cannabis. And this comes to us from StratCan. Except for medical
Although the price
cannabis.
of many consumers' goods have been increasing over the past year, the price of cannabis in Canada appears to be continuing to decline. These figures from Statistics Canada show the consumer price index for cannabis declined by over 2 points from March 22 to March 23. However, the CPI for medical cannabis increased by more than 10 points. Wow.
Why? Why?
No idea.
The annual CPI is reported with a base year index value of 100 and is used to measure inflation by comparing the change in price over time for a basket of consumer goods and services. And in March of 2022, the CPI for recreational cannabis in Canada was 75.8. In March of 2023, it was 74, a decline of 2.4%. For medical cannabis, CPI in March of 2022 was 73.1. In March of 2023, a year later,
Wow.
it was 81, an increase of 10.8%. Like what?
Well, that makes sense. Let's increase it for medical patients. The
Yeah.
CPI for cannabis in Canada has been declining since legalization from 100 when first reported in February 19 to 89.2 in March 2020, 82.7 in March 21, and 75.8 in March 22. CPI for medical cannabis declined from 99.5 in March 2019 to 91.5 in March 2020, 87.4 in March 21, and 73.1 in March 22, before increasing for the first time in March 23 to 81.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like patience again. Just not
Always
right.
seems to be the patient.
It is. It does, doesn't it? like what the hell? What's going on? You know, we get, well, I'll tell you, the run of bad news stories has come to an end because we're switching topics. We're heading off to psychedelics, and that's because the headline here says a roadmap to the 11 most cited psychedelic research papers. People always say, "Where's the studies? Where's the information?" Yeah.
Explore the groundbreaking
Now this
research
is an
that has
awful
shaped our
long.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a really long story, so we're just gonna we're gonna start off like you did, but we'll end up just sort of going along with the research headlines.
Okay.
So keep going.
Okay. Just let me know when you want to jump. Explore the groundbreaking research that has shaped our understanding of psychedelics since the mid-20th century, with a review of the most cited research papers in the field. Discover how these key studies have informed subsequent research and helped to build a foundation of knowledge on the therapeutic potential and risk of these powerful substances.
Try slide down to the first one here, and number one says psilocybin can occasion mystical type experiences having substantial and sustained personal meaning and spiritual significance. The book written by R.R. Griffiths.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
next
they say
one.
it's a groundbreaking double. Yeah, just read the first Just read the first paragraph of the
Okay,
the book.
a groundbreaking double-blind study sought to evaluate the acute and long-term psychological effects of psilocybin, a compound found in psychedelic mushrooms, compared to a controlled substance. The study aimed to fill the knowledge gap surrounding psilocybin's effects, which have been used for centuries in religious contexts. The research involved hallucinogen naive adults who in other words, people who don't use mushrooms, who participated in religious or spiritual activities with psilocybin and methylphenidate, sorry about that, hydrochloride administered in alternating sessions. Throughout the experiment, volunteers were encouraged to focus inward, and their behavior and experiences were assessed using questionnaires and community observer ratings.
Okay, go ahead and read the next headline, number two.
Psilocybin produces sustained decreases in depression and anxiety in patients with life-threatening cancer. A randomized double-blind trial written by R.R. Griffiths and published November 2016 in the Journal of Psychopharmacology.
Nice.
That's a word.
This is one of the most notorious psilocybin studies. Of the most cited psychedelic research papers. Almost every paper that has come out after has cited this study. The study aimed to assess the efficacy of psilocybin in reducing anxiety, depression, and improving the quality of life for patients with life-threatening cancer diagnosis. A 2-session double-blind crossover design was employed in which participants received either a low or high dose of psilocybin in the first session and the alternative dose in the second session. The session was conducted in a supportive living room environment, and the psilocybin doses were administered identical, basically capsules, and participants were encouraged to lie down and focus on the inner experiences throughout the session. Number 3 was Psychedelics by David E. Nichols. It was published back in 2016.
Okay, this is a comprehensive review that provides an in-depth exploration of the history, safety, mechanisms of action, and potential therapeutic value of psychedelics, particularly serotonergic hallucinogens like LSD and psilocybin. Written by one of the most accomplished and cited authors in the field, this review provides a thorough review regarding every facet of psychedelics. It discusses their historical use and early research and their serotonergic basic for action. It highlights their mechanisms of action as agonists or partial agonists at brain serotonin 5-HT. Oh.
Yeah,
That was a little above my pay grade. Yeah.
Okay, now number 4 is psilocybin with psychological support for treatment-resistant depression, an open-label feasible study written by Carhart Harris, and that was published back in July of 2016. I'll read this
and
one.
This study investigated the feasibility, safety. Yeah, the same thing they're studying here. Psilocybin in patients with unipolar treatment-resistant depression. Wow, okay. It's one of the most cited due to the positive outcomes that came from testing psilocybin or depressed patients. The study involved 12 patients who received 2 oral doses of psilocybin in a supportive setting. The study found that psilocybin was well tolerated by all patients and no serious adverse events occurred. Depressive symptoms were markedly reduced 1 week and 3 months after the high dose treatment, which sustained improvements in anxiety and anhedonia also noted. The study provides preliminary support for safety and efficacy of psilocybin for treatment-resistant depression and suggests the need for further trials and more rigorous design to examine its therapeutic potential.
Yeah. Rapid and sustained symptom reduction following psilocybin treatment for anxiety and depression in patients with life-threatening cancer, randomized controlled trial by S. Ross, and that was published in December of 2016. It was a study aimed to investigate the role of psilocybin in treating cancer-related anxiety and depression. 20 families to receive single-dose psilocybin or nicene, along with psychotherapy in a double-blinded, placebo-controlled trial. The results show that psilocybin produced immediate, substantial, and sustained improvements in anxiety, depression, and led to decrease in cancer-related demoralization and hopelessness, improved spiritual well-being, and increased quality of life. Good to know.
Nice.
Okay, next one. Go ahead.
Yeah. Pilot study of psilocybin treatment for anxiety in patients with advanced stage cancer. This is a pilot study examining the safety and efficacy of psilocybin in treating anxiety in patients with advanced stage cancer. Pilot study is a small-scale test of the methods and procedures to be used on a larger scale. This was a double-blind, placebo-controlled study with 12 participants who received a moderate dose of psilocybin. The results showed safe psychological and physiological responses with no significant adverse events.
Nice.
The state trial anxiety inventory demonstrated a significant reduction in anxiety in 1 to 3 months after treatment, while the Beck Depression Inventory revealed an improvement in mood that reached significance at 6 months. The study established the feasibility and safety of administering moderate doses of psilocybin to this patient population, supporting the need for more research in this field. The study provides evidence that psilocybin, when administered in a supportive setting, can produce safe, immediate, and sustained improvements in mood and anxiety in patients with advanced stage cancer.
Good. Natural or neural correlates of the psychedelic state as determined by fMRI studies with psilocybin. It was written back in 2012. I see we're getting a little on the time here, Glenn, so we'll just read off the titles here.
Okay, mystical type experiences occasioned by psilocybin mediate the attribution of personal meaning and spiritual significance 14 months later.
Yeah, and that was written back in 2008. That's like 15 years ago, and they knew all this. Wow.
Nobody
psilocybin induces. Yeah, psilocybin induces schizophrenia-like psychosis in humans via serotonin tuned against action.
And psilocybin assisted treatment for alcohol dependence, a proof of concept study. For alcohol dependence, that's great.
Yes, exactly. Honorable mention, LSD 25 as an acid in psychotherapy. And that was back in 1950. 1950.
Wow.
73 years ago. And they were talking about it then, acid.
Oh, they put their head in the sand and say, no, it's not good for anybody. It doesn't matter what they say.
Wow. Boy, it's like cannabis was discovered all those years ago. They just kept brushing it off. Yeah. Well, Glenn, it's break time. Time to medicate. Glenn and I'll be right back after our session. You're watching Psychedelics and Educational News here at paceradio.net and cbgtv.com. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
When you think of the number of unique products developed in the fields, kitchens, and labs at Legacy 420, it's hard to think that one stands out above the rest. But tell that to the thousands of people who have tried this amazing breakthrough product.
This is our Sacred Salve. This is actually our extra strength. It comes in 5 different strengths. It's all natural, all organic. It typically works within 10 to 15 minutes of putting it on. It's good for arthritis, it's good for inflammation, any kind of pain. We're very proud of it.
Sacred Salve, so easy to apply, along with soothing relief. To select a strength that's right for you, come in and talk to your trusted partner. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Pace Radio Network, by patients, for patients, and for those who want to know.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com.
Let's share PACE everywhere. That way it can help create peace. People everywhere advocating cannabis education. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. And we're back, and you're watching Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News, your Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News source here on paceradio.net and cbgtv.com. Well, Glenn, we got a few more stories to go here. What do you say we get started on them?
Sure. Right into it.
Sounds good. All right, there we go. Cannabis retailers extend 420 promotions from 1 day to up to a month.
Every year on 420, cannabis retailers across the U.S., I guess in Canada too, gear up to celebrate the unofficial April 20 cannabis holiday with promotions, deals, and in-store events aimed at attracting new customers and keeping the ones they have. Well, this year, there's no exception. Coming 3 years after the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, many retailers are shifting their focus from 420 being a one-day event to a week or even month-long celebration with different daily promotions and other straightforward pitches intended to attract customers.
Well, I can tell you, I know our sponsor, Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, they have done that. They have extended their sales. That's more than just 1 day. So
nice.
Get in there while you can. Yep. Kate Nelson, the Senior Vice President of the New York-based Acreage Holdings, described the multi-state operators' plans for 420 as more of a spring break than a one-day event. Our goal is not to get everyone in the store on the same day. We want all our guests to have a wonderful experience.
And we're having a different activation every day and volume pricing opportunities. We're doing a giveaway at the 20-minute mark of every hour. Front Ventures, a Phoenix-based MSO, is allowing a few third-party vendors to hold pop-up events at its Mission retail outlets. Cool.
Yeah, the deals often won't be complicated, but they will vary state by state. It says Christy Shaw, the vice president of the company, of the retail end. For example, the first 200 customers who spend $80 at one of the company stores will get an eighth for $4.20. If spend $150, they'll get a quarter for $4.20. Oh,
wow. Last year and previous years, you go to dispensaries and it would be a laundry list of things they have on sale. Having a really easy promotion to understand is critical and is going to be important. Some businesses also use 420 to launch new brands and products.
Yep, the Flower Shop, a Phoenix-based company with operations in Arizona and Utah, is launching 3 brands in April. The female-focused Ladylike, High Tide, a THC-infused seltzer, and High Variety, which involves a range of cannabis products.
The Flower Shop is offering 420 days of 420 at its, or 20 days of 420 at its outlets to ensure it can accommodate the anticipated foot traffic, said Greta Brandt, the company's president. It will alleviate a lot of the traffic issues we have, Brandt said. From an operational standpoint, we're trying to spread out the deals so we make sure we've got the inventory.
Yeah, spread things out over the month. You could have more deals instead of just getting cramming all in one day. While flower was a dominant category consumers purchased pre-pandemic, the market has since shifted, Brandt says. There's been a diversion of product selection because of COVID. Now it's vape and edibles.
Yeah. The larger consumer base is interested in the convenience of confidentiality. They don't smell like flower or pre-rolls. New York-based MSO Cureleaf Holdings is celebrating daily leading up to 420 with exclusive giveaways and events, said Dinesh Panugonda, Vice President of Retail Operations.
Yeah. New this year is Cureleaf's revamped rewards program, which covers 14 states and boasts more than 1.8 million members. Customers earn loyalty points to be redeemed at future purchases at any Cureleaf operated store in the U.S.
420 is a great way to attract and keep new customers. The average new customer return rate for top 10 redeemed discounts was 35.9 last year. And the average customer repeat rate for all 420 discounts is about 22.8%, according to Trez, an Oakland, California-based company providing cannabis industry software, including point of sale and inventory management services. Last year during 420, aggregated sales grew 25%, Tree's CEO John Yang said. This year, we expect a lower increase overall as consumers spend less per order.
Yeah, and no matter how cannabis businesses approach 420, the day historically has been a boom for them. Correct. They have.
Yeah.
It has been. I know.
Yeah.
I know local stores and all that always had sales for 420. It's nothing new, right?
When I was in Canada last year, the sale at my the place I go was $30 an ounce. They didn't announce what it was, but I bought one just for curiosity's sake, and it wound up being very, very pleasant.
No, good. $30. Like,
yeah, $30.
I don't get ounces.
I would have
$25.
I would have bought 20 of them if I knew it was going to be that good, you know?
Well, yeah, exactly. If you maybe could have gone back, but it's probably too late. All right.
Yeah.
On to the next story. Headline says, according to Marijuana Moment, Oregon approves nation's first psilocybin facilitator licenses to administer psychedelics.
I can't get into this story, Al.
Oh, can you?
Here we
Okay.
go. Sorry about that. I got it now. Oregon regulators announced on Tuesday that they have approved the nation's first state licensed psilocybin facilitators to administer the psychedelic to adults at regulated facilities. The Oregon Health Authority approved 3 facilitators, David Nafpalin, Alexander Plovy, and Janet Small, to provide psilocybin health services under the law that voters approved in 2020. 3 years ago, they approved that.
Yes, exactly. We want to congratulate the first facilitators to be licensed in Oregon. The Oregon Psilocybin Services Section Manager Angie Albee said in a press release, "As your work in providing non-directed psilocybin services takes shape, we thank you for your dedication to client safety and access as we move closer to opening service centers," she says.
OHA approved the first ever license for a psilocybin manufacturer last month, and it's since issued an additional license to provide the psychedelic to service centers. Regulators were tasked under the historic voter-approved initiative to begin issuing licenses for the manufacturing, testing, and administering of psilocybin in January 2nd, 2023. OPS said that it anticipates issuing licenses to service center and laboratory applicants in the coming months.
Yeah, OHA has approved 60 psilocybin worker permits so far. A total of 302 worker permits and license applications have been submitted as to the state as of Tuesday, but the implementation of a psilocybin initiative in Oregon hasn't gone without hiccups. There's a major question about local access, for example, as more than 100 cities across the state have enacted a 2-year moratoriums or bans prohibited the service centers from being established in their area. Wow, come on.
Also, the Netherlands-based Synthesis Institute that invested heavily and is creating a training program for facilitators to administer psilocybin at the future centers recently disclosed that it ran out of funding. The rulemaking process has proved conscientious at times too. Some advocates have raised concerns over the perception that regulators were prioritizing for-profit corporations to manage the psilocybin services programs over community-based organizations and indigenous groups, which is the same story we keep hearing over and over again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there you go. Just moving along here to keep things on time. That's all. All right. It's it's good to see that they've gone and done that, and they have the facilitators so people can have access. Not everybody knows what comes along when you eat mushrooms and take psilocybin.
Yeah.
So it's good that they got people that can help them in their journey and help them. So
It's just
all
the
right,
problem with
next
it for me
article.
is they're moving at a government pace. That's always the problem.
Yeah. Next story: marijuana moment. Oregon approves nation's first psilocybin. Like I think we just did that story. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're in
We'll just
Missouri.
cut that out. We'll leave that there, and we head to Missouri. That's right, because in Missouri, what they've done there, they have announced that the cannabis companies face product shortages, price hikes after the adult use lunch, and this is from MJ Biz Daily.
And it didn't take long for Missouri's new established adult use cannabis market to feel growing pains. The Midwestern market, which launched recreational sales on February 3rd, is off to a sizzling start and on pace to break the $1 billion in sales in its first full year. Wow.
But strong
Missouri.
demand for medical cannabis patients as well. What's that?
I said that surprises me. It's Missouri.
Yeah, really. Yeah, exactly. But strong demand for medical cannabis patients as well as local and out-of-state consumers has far exceeded operators' expectations and resulted in the kind of product shortages and higher wholesale prices experienced in other newly launched recreational markets. It sounds like you weren't the only one surprised, Glenn.
Yeah.
In some areas of the state, particularly near the Kansas border, Missouri retailers are seeing foot traffic increase ninefold since expanding into recreational sales.
Wow. In southern Missouri, Illinois consumers are crossing the Mississippi River in droves from St. Louis cannabis for St. Louis cannabis that's significantly cheaper than back home. Even illicit cannabis feeding the market from neighboring Oklahoma hasn't quelled demand in Missouri, leading to big stakes in wholesale flower prices and inventory shortages throughout the supply chain. Wow.
Yeah. Ben Burstein, a strategy analyst at New York-based wholesale technology platform LeafLink, says there just isn't enough bulk flower for the sort of demand that's come into the market. It's one of the only markets in the country that you can actually say that demand is exceeding supply. And you know what, Glenn? If they federally legalize it, they'd be able to get some cannabis from another state.
Yep. Yeah, makes sense to me, but it'll take another 10 years. It's a stark contrast to the other markets such as Massachusetts, Michigan, and Oregon, where falling prices and supply glut are challenging business viability. Operators in Missouri are also avoiding over-leveraging production and resources, a recipe that has led to a glut of product oversupply in markets such as California and Colorado.
With dozens of retailers and manufacturers buying bulk flower from only 50 cultivators and most of them producing at least half capacity, the price of wholesale flower has skyrocketed, they say, in the last few months. And according to LeafLink, which tracks nearly all wholesale volume in Missouri through its online marketplace, the price of bulk flower has doubled to $3,000 per pound.
Wow.
Since the launch of that. Holy smokes! So they didn't hear about that earlier story. We were talking about the prices going down. $3,000 a pound. Holy! You're getting that? You're getting a pound here for $300 to $500. $3,000. Wow!
That's theft. That's what it is. It's theft. This is what happens when you let big business take over everything and you leave all the little guys out of it.
Wow! Yeah. Just on that note, Glenn, I'm just moving us along there. $3,000 a pound. That is just
it's crazy.
Smokes.
And that's 3,000
exactly.
American dollars.
Yes. Yeah. Oh wow, that's just crazy. All right, we're down to about the last 10 minutes, and we got a couple more stories and a closing to squeeze in there, so we better just rip along. And this one comes to us from Muggleheads, and it says Uber Eats partners with Leafly to deliver cannabis in BC.
BC residents will soon be able to order cannabis products from Uber Technologies, Uber Eats delivery service, thanks to a new partnership with the renowned cannabis platform Leafly Holdings Incorporated. The companies announced the news on Monday, and BC customers will be able to order cannabis to their doorstep as of Tuesday. A total of 13 local retail locations owned by 7 companies in Vancouver and Victoria will initially be providing their merchandise through the app in the province. Great.
The news follows the Uber Eats commencing cannabis delivery in Ontario last October, marking the first time that cannabis has been available on a major delivery platform like this anywhere in the world. The first cannabis retailers providing products through the app will include Sea to Sky Cannabis, North Shore Cannabis, Queensboro Cannabis, Original Farm Cannabis, 420 Cannabis, Leisure for Cannabis, and Arc Cannabis.
I just got a pop up. Give me one sec here. Consistent with applicable laws in the province, Uber Eats delivers or drivers seeking to deliver cannabis will be required to get selling it right certification from Responsible Services BC. Those drivers will require customers to present their ID upon delivery and verify that they are sober before handing over the order. This partnership will help us expand and reach even more people in Vancouver. Just like the in-store experience, our provincially certified delivery staff understand and comply with local regulations around cannabis transactions, including checking ID, said Aaron Sinathamby, CEO of AR Cannabis.
Yeah, they can teach all those people to ask for ID in bars. They can teach people, delivery drivers, how to ask for ID as well, right? So that
and I didn't think there was a course. I didn't think there was a course you had to take to ask for ID.
Apparently there is. Who knew, right? Who knew?
Yeah.
How do you ask for ID? Maybe they teach you how to spot fake ID. I don't know.
I love.
All right,
they should
on to our last story.
They should walk into these stores and just say, ask them for ID. If they give you ID and they're of age, sell it to them. That's it. Done.
Yeah. There's things, I guess, that teach them what to watch for. So, all right. Last story of the day. MJ Biz Daily says the True Leaf legal settlement comes amid scrutiny of racial bias in the cannabis industry.
True Leaf Cannabis has settled a lawsuit with a black former middle manager who accused a Florida-based medical cannabis multi-state operator in a complaint filed last month of paying her and other black employees less than whites. According to records filed April 13th in the Second Judicial Court in Tallahassee, where True Leaf is headquartered, the company reached a settlement with Brooke Bennett, who worked as a manager in the company's 200-person St. Petersburg call center from August 18th, 2018 to 2022.
Terms weren't disclosed. Of course, they weren't. Probably an NDA. And the suit was dismissed Monday. But Bennett's claims come at a time when the cannabis industry continues to struggle to extend opportunity for racial minorities whose ownership of cannabis businesses and representation in C-suites are dwindling.
Last year, with only 12.1% of the U.S. cannabis executives were non-white, down from 13.1% in 2021 and 28% in 2019, according to a 2022 MJ Biz Daily report called Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in the Cannabis Industry. It's a similar story for cannabis business ownership by racial minorities.
Bennett's suit also highlights the struggle encountered by cannabis industry employees, particularly those from marginalized groups. In her lawsuit filed March the 14th in the Second Judicial Court, Bennett alleges that she received lower pay than less qualified white colleagues working in identical roles.
Additionally, True Leaf allegedly paid black entry-level workers 50 cents less per hour than white employees. Moreover, Bennett's lawsuit alleged racial and gender discrimination as well as retaliation. Records show Bennett's suit, filed after a federal Equal Employment Opportunity Commission complaint, is one of a bevy of lawsuits filed in Florida state and federal courts over the past year alleging workplace discrimination or harassment at Trulieve, the biggest cannabis company in Florida and one of the largest in the nation's by revenue. And I just like to say, this is Florida. This is what happens there.
That's all you need to know. At least 7 lawsuits remain open according to the records. The company has also poured more than $30 million so far into a 2024 adult use legalization initiative into the state. And critics say passage of the measure would only enlarge Trulieve's commanding position in Florida's legal cannabis markets.
The detailed accusations in Bennett's lawsuit are the latest racially charged headache for Trulieve, which last summer acknowledged that a Juneteenth promotion critics saw as racist was culturally insensitive. Honored for diversity efforts. Yes, Trulieve has won recognitions for its diversification efforts from an organization advocating for a minority participating in the cannabis sector. How is that possible?
I don't know. But back in January, Florida-based Minorities for Medical Cannabis, so medical marijuana, honored Trulieve as its 2022 Diversity and Inclusion Corporate Champion of the Year. Ross McCarthy, the founder and CEO of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, declined to comment. There you go. Yeah. Wonder why. Yeah. Got to end that one there too, Glenn.
Oh, okay.
It's just not right. You know, what are they? Yeah.
It's funny though. I know when I start reading these stories, they don't even have to tell me where they're from.
Oh, it's just especially Florida, where they're trying to eliminate Black history, and we're not even going to go there. Sorry. All right.
We're gonna
Glenn. Don't even want.
I got to hold my tongue sometimes.
That's exactly. We're doing that right now. All right. Well, other than that, happy 420, everybody. Once again, it's a day to celebrate and get somewhere. Be out there at 420, wherever you can be, across the country or around the world, man. Actually. So, all right. Peace. Other than that, from the Legacy420.com news desk, that's our Pace News report for 420. Thanks to our buds at Campbellford Lifestyle Shop and Legacy420.com. In closing, we'd like to say thank you for watching, and don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate. You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com. CBGTV, broadcasting to a worldwide audience. Find us at cbgtv.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.